Good morning. It's Mike,
And Kim Upton.
your Turning Point elder couple, here to have a fireside chat with you to talk about the present crisis. We want to convey a couple of different things in this difficult time, how we in the Turning Point leadership are viewing the crisis, how we can help each other in unique ways during this time, and what is our common need, a need for prayer. So this crisis requires a real need for unity. I believe, as the human race, are facing an unseen and highly contagious enemy. We're being attacked. We as Americans are perhaps a country that has never known a crisis of this sort, at least in our generation, and maybe the epicenter of the world's pandemic. And finally, we as a Turning Point, as a church body, are being affected by all these forces that are easily wanting to divide us. Some of us can feel that others in the church are way too lax and are putting others in danger. Well, still others may be feeling that others are taking unnecessary precautions and, really limiting things that should be great group celebrations. So as a nation, we are so politically divided. There are many different groups that are vying against each other. How serious is this threat? Do we really need to take this extent to put the economy in jeopardy? How far do we go? Who is responsible for this mess? There's so many, the fur is flying basically in all directions, and we're thrust in the middle of it, oftentimes unknowingly, or trying to figure out what to do.
And we're dealing with physical distance. I mean, this is so unfamiliar to us as disciples. We just love to hug. We love to touch. We love to smile and laugh and be close with each other. It is so unusual and so difficult to see a disciple close by and not lean into them, lean forward. It's just such an unusual time. How far do we go in not venturing out for weddings and bridal showers, baptisms? Even I've seen on the news where people cannot go to their family funeral because of what's going on in the world today. It's incredibly painful. We were so ready to rejoice with those who were going to rejoice and to mourn with those who mourn. And we have been told we cannot. This is a very difficult time, and it is something that we need to realize we still need one another in the midst of all of this challenge.
In 1 Corinthians 12:25, the Apostle Paul states that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. We are certainly all connected together. So what does God expect of us here and now? And it's clear that we have been ordered by the governor to stay at home, with great consequences to our economy, putting many jobs in jeopardy and leading to an economic fallout. This is not done lightly, but I think with their full understanding of the consequences, both pros and cons, for our own well-being. The Turning Point leadership is very concerned that some are unwittingly putting themselves and others at unnecessary risk. We do not recommend or sanction any event that violates the stay-at-home orders. Please take this threat very seriously so that we can minimize the danger to our church and to our city. Respect that while you may be more likely to incur a less serious version of the coronavirus, to others this might well be life-threatening. Let's live without regrets. To think that one of us would endanger another person's life would be hard to cope with.
And in addition to having a unified concern for others, we also wanted to touch on unique needs in these really troubled days. We have a need for companionship. We can reach out in new and different ways. Take the initiative to love differently. Care about your neighbors. Just as the coronavirus spreads very rapidly from one person to the next, I've seen and believe that love travels quicker. The kind of impact we can have on our neighbors, our loved ones, our friends is incalculable. And I have been so encouraged to see so many wonderful things on Facebook where people are dropping notes in neighbors' mailboxes and leaving flower arrangements from their gardens on neighbors' doorsteps. People just contacting people they haven't spoken with in a while through texts or messenger or any of the ways that we have to be able to communicate and contact each other. Reach out to those who you know are living alone. Reach out to the single moms who might be going crazy right now at home day after day with their children. There are so many ways to help and encourage one another. And speaking of help, please don't be afraid to ask for help. You, me, we may be in need during this really difficult time. We are our brothers and sisters' keepers. We do care. Please let us know how we can help you or how we can help you help others. We are much stronger together than we are alone. 1 Peter 5 verse 8 says that your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. We are very vulnerable alone. If you're not part of a community group and would like to be, please contact Mike or myself or anyone on the staff. We want no one to be left out. Who could have anticipated back in January when we established these community groups that they would be so essential? It's for this reason and for many others that I truly believe that God is with us.
So we find ourselves in a time where division is so easy to turn against each other when, in fact, I believe it's clear that God calls us to pull together as never before. That we have some unique opportunities to reach out to people we would not otherwise not have that opportunity to do, and meet their needs and really fulfill our own. And finally, I think that this is a time for prayer. God calls us in 1 Timothy 2, 1 through 3, I urge you then, first of all, that requests, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for everyone, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. This is good and pleases God, our Savior. I believe we are being tested as never before, at least in our generation. Do we have the mettle, the character within us to be wise and self-controlled, to be loving and faithful to God when the world is in turmoil? I hope that someday we'll look back on this time with great fondness, not because of all the pain and suffering, certainly, but because God had us dig deeper and find a part of ourselves, part of our love, our faith, our hope, that we didn't tap into ever before or need to have. And now we do, and we meet the challenge. I believe we will meet this head on together and leave no regret. That we'll thank God for this very time that is so difficult. Thank you so much for listening.
We love you.